Hello and welcome to my little bookish corner of the internet. My name's Harriet. Today I'm going to be taking part in the Pain Over Joy book tag, and I was tagged by Steve Talks About Books and Stuff. I will leave their channel link down below so you can check them out. They do some amazing videos, lots of live discussions and lots of kind of group buddy reads that you can join in with, which is amazing, so definitely check them out. But this tag was originally created by Aaron Facer and I will leave their video link down below as well. So let's get started. The first question is, do you mainly read books illustrating pain or books illustrating joy, and why? Now, I wouldn't say that I go out of my way to pick up a book because it's got anything like heartbreaking or sad or anything like that in there. I also don't really go out of my way to pick up anything that will definitely make me feel joyful or anything like that. But I think in general, a lot of the books that I read, because they're either fantasy or they're contemporary romances, things like that, there is a lot of heartache in there and grief and obviously some dark topics. I feel like a lot of books do have that in anyway. There's usually always some kind of grief, whether it's like a family member passing away or losing a friend or losing a loved one. So I'd have to say that I mainly read books illustrating pain, but I don't think I necessarily go out of my way to do it. However, I do feel like it adds another layer to the book, and it also adds dimension to the characters because they feel more realistic. Unfortunately, most people, I'm assuming, have been through some kind of pain in their lives. So for a character to have that as well, I think just makes them feel a lot more dynamic and a lot more realistic. And then that makes the story feel more powerful as well. You can connect to the characters a bit more. So I think that's why perhaps I am slightly more drawn to stories that have some kind of pain in there. I know for sure that that's actually why I read certain authors' works. For example, Taylor Jenkins Reid, she's always writing about characters that have been through some kind of pain, whether it's loss or being misunderstood or not having anyone there for them. And I connect really well to those characters. I feel like, again, they just feel really genuine. So yeah, I guess I'm actually drawn more towards books with pain in, but not for the pain aspect. It's more for the character development. The second question is, do you see books about pain as more intellectually valuable? Why or why not? I don't really see any books as intellectually valuable. I just want to read. So books are just a way for me to escape, or I will sometimes learn something from them if it's a non-fiction. But in terms of fictional novels, I wouldn't say that I use them for anything other than enjoyment. If I do learn something from it, it will be something that I wasn't looking for. And I don't think that a book that illustrates pain is going to be more intellectually valuable. It might be more relatable, but you could also have a book that has nothing bad happen in it and it could still be really entertaining and really fun. So I'd have to say no to this one. I definitely think that's personal preference, though. It's just not how I see books. The third question is, why do you think that major book prizes like the Booker and Pulitzer mainly award books about pain? I'm the wrong person to really ask this question to because I don't pay attention to any book awards or anything like that. The only time I ever notice things like that is if it's on the front of a book as a sticker. But if they apparently do award books that focus more on pain, I think again it would just be more about relatability, and also you'd feel more attached to those characters because you want things to get better for them. I know that I always feel a little bit more emotionally invested in a novel and the characters within it if there is something bad that has happened to the characters, or there's a situation where they're kind of in grief, where they are sad or unhappy or they're working through something, because I feel like you get to know that character a little bit more, you see a different side of them. And I think that's why I personally connect more with books like that. So perhaps other people are like that as well. Not everyone wants a book where everything's happy-go-lucky because they might not be going through the same thing in their lives. So they'll want something that they can connect with, and that's where the grief and the pain comes in. Which sounds really dark, but unfortunately it is true. So yeah, I definitely think that it would be a lot more about relatability more than anything. The fourth question is, do you use and agree with the phrase guilty pleasure? Why or why not? I don't like to see things as a guilty pleasure because I don't feel like you should feel guilty about anything that you do or you read, unless it's illegal, obviously. But in terms of novels, just read whatever you like and talk about it with everyone and everyone that you want to if you feel comfortable doing that. You shouldn't ever feel guilty about reading anything. I don't care if it's smut, if it's children's literature, if it's been rated like the worst book of all time. If you love it, that is all that matters. So I try not to use that phrase. I have used it in the past when talking about things that I enjoyed when I was younger, like the Twilight Saga, the Hush Hush series, things like that, because they are seen as angsty teen romances with vampires, werewolves, fallen angels. They're the kind of thing that you're not expected to enjoy when you're an adult, but also why shouldn't you enjoy it? So I'm trying really hard not to use that phrase anymore. As I say, I think I have done in the past, but I'm trying not to use it now because I feel like you should just be able to enjoy whatever you want. Question number 5 is, do you think that books centering on joy are guilty pleasures? I think this relates back to kind of what I just said really, in that a lot of the times our guilty pleasures are books that we enjoyed when we were younger and that maybe we aren't really supposed to like when we're older, or that's what society says anyway. You feel like you're going to get judged for saying that you liked it. And a lot of the times those books, because we read them when we were younger, they do tend to be a little bit more joyful and a little bit more happy-go-lucky and not as dark and grim as some of the books that we might read when we're older. So perhaps people would class books centering on joy as guilty pleasures, but I don't really understand why, because why wouldn't you want to read something that makes you feel happy and that doesn't make you cry and feel really emotional? So I think some people would say that those kind of books are guilty pleasures, but personally, I don't really agree with that. As I said before, read what you want. Question number 6 is, do you read in secret? Are there books you read but never talk about because of embarrassment, shame, or the guilt surrounding liking them? I used to do this quite a lot, and I've kind of learned not to now that I'm on Bookstagram and BookTube, because I tend to see a lot of the same books circulating, like the really popular ones that come out. And if everyone does that and hides what they really like reading, then how is there ever going to be any kind of variety? So I just literally talk about anything I've read. If it's worth speaking about, I'll speak about it. For example, a couple of years ago, I read the 50 Shades of Grey trilogy. And yes, it's trashy. Yes, it's not written very well, and it's made from a fan fiction, and it got blown up into this major series. And everyone thought it was really dirty, that people were talking about it and reading it. And basically I read them, I thought they were all right, I got rid of them, and then I saw them in the charity shop the other day, and it was 6 books for £1. I needed to get 3 more books to make up the £1. I got some of the books, I saw the trilogy there, and I just thought, you know what, I'll get them, I'll reread them, and maybe I'll do a series on it. I've spoken about a book called Insatiable on my channel before. Again, that's kind of smutty, there's a lot of sex in there. And I feel like most of the time people get really embarrassed talking about stuff like that, or they feel guilty for enjoying those books, but you definitely shouldn't. And we should talk about it, because otherwise, how is anyone going to feel comfortable? Yeah, I definitely did used to do it when I was younger, but now I literally don't care. I'll just be honest and tell you what kind of books I like, and I'll speak about them. Like I say, if it's worth speaking about, I'll probably make a video about it or an Instagram post, and I'll definitely review it on Goodreads as well, for sure. And the final question is, who do you tag? So I'm going to tag Out of This World Reader, Bookish Life of Sash, and Chloe Hamsey Reads. Of course, however, there is no pressure to do this tag, and if you want to take part but I didn't tag you, let me know down below when your video is up and I'll definitely watch it. I'd love to see your answers. Thank you again to Steve for the tag, but that is it from me today. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye!